All right, well, hello, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. Welcome back, if you're watching live, to day 3 of Solo Tabletop Game Fest, as I call it, 2022. And we are just now starting into a game of Doom. This is actually the second scenario in the base campaign for the 2004 tabletop board game called, appropriately enough, Doom the Board Game. And this is just kind of historically an interesting game. It's a Fantasy Flight game, and it's a precursor to the original first edition Descent. And so there's a skeleton of rules or DNA that those two games have in common. This game was criticized for being kind of broken in a number of ways, and when they released the expansion for it, that also came with a page full of rules suggestions, which arguably were corrections or that kind of balanced the game or kept it from being a broken experience. I happened to play it in a particular way, I guess, that I didn't experience the brokenness. However, a number of the rules suggestions and changes I have ended up employing. This game is also not meant to be played solo. It's meant to be played with one player who's controlling all the enemies. It's called the Invader player. And then up to, I believe, 3 Marine players. Now, I am experimenting, as I have already done one scenario this way, playing it solo, which means that I have to modify the rules a little bit. And mainly that means taking cards out of the game or actions out of the game that would involve interrupting another player. Sometimes the Invader player is able to interrupt the Marine players when it's to his advantage to do so, or vice versa. But when I'm playing solo, I'm really kind of telling a story. I'm really not in it for some kind of like puzzling challenge, because then it's like, okay, which side do you want to win? Well, I want the Marines to win, but I want it to be an interesting story that unfolds, aided by a combination of my imagination and the game mechanics that create a structure. So this is basically intensely structured playtime with my action figures that you're watching. But I do like to segment my brain and try to, like, when I'm playing as the enemy player, just think what is most advantageous for the enemy player, the Invader player, and then when I'm playing as the Marines, think only in terms of what is to the advantage of the Marines. And I find that doing that does allow me to enjoy some tabletop games that are not intended to be played solo, provided I can segment my mind like that. Okay, someone just jumped into the chat with the username anxiously awaiting Pater's Truffle Shuffle, saying, "Hello, Pater, I'm a huge fan." Thank you so much. For those who are not in the know, I just announced, as I stream live anyway, this would be well after it once this goes up in the archived format, but I just announced an event I'm calling Summer Insanity 2022, which may be the first annual event, that is basically a drive to increase subscribers, and depending on the number of subscribers that Christian Geek Central, the YouTube channel anyway, has on June 1st, 2022, that will determine how prolonged and how crazy filled my a live stream that I do in the summer will be. And very high up toward the end of all the goals for subscribers is my rendition, I guess you would say, of the Truffle Shuffle, as, of course, made famous by the classic movie Goonies and the character Chunk. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. What am I going to call you? I can't read that whole... because I like to shout out usernames when I'm kind of reading their comments or questions or whatever. So, AAPTS. That's what I'll call you. And, I'll just say anxiously awaiting. Then we'll just shorten it just for that. It's a bit... I think that's great that you're using that as your username. So thank you very much, anxiously awaiting, and I'm glad that you are. All right, so I mentioned I'm playing it solo. This game is out of print, and so I don't stream this to kind of flaunt something that I have that you won't be able to get your hands on. Actually, if you like what you see as I'm playing this game, I would recommend what I think is probably a superior game still in print called Galaxy Defenders from Gremlin something is the name of the people that do that one. But there are a number of sci-fi themed dungeon crawlers. There is a new version of Doom, the board game, but it's not based on these rules. I think they kind of started again from the ground up. I think it's a different company that made it. But anyway, if you like what you see here, it's probably, you know, I mean, you're going to be able to find something much more easily that will probably be a superior experience. It will scratch the same itches. But this is the game that I happen to have and that that I enjoyed playing back in the day. And so I'm experimenting playing it solo now. Also, I am specifically playing as two characters. I got my two Marines right here. The green one I'm calling Ran. The blue one I'm calling Vincent. And I've got their stats over here. Let me see if I can stretch this cord to bring me over here. So their stats are represented on these two cards here. So this is Ran. And he's got 2 armor and this much health, and these are ammo tokens, so like shells. These are his special abilities, and I'll just go through these really quick here. Scout, when you choose, come on now, focus. When you choose to advance, which means attack and move instead of attacking twice or moving twice. When you choose to advance, you may move 8 spaces instead of 4. When you choose to sprint, you may move 12 spaces instead of 8, and receive a dodge order at the end of your turn. And dodge is cool. That just allows you to force the enemy to re-roll their attack dice against you. Medic is his other ability, his second ability. When you choose to ready, and ready involves either attacking or moving, and then in addition to that, putting a token out that allows you to do a special maneuver. When you choose to do that, you may use the heal order. So he's the only one. Normally you can't heal yourself, but as the medic he can. Let's see here. And then recon. When moving, you may pass through enemy figures and blocking obstacles, but not closed doors. You must still end your movement in an empty space. So he's going to be really good at kind of getting the lay of the land, running around and doing things that need getting done while avoiding enemies, and not engaging in combat maybe quite as much as Vincent. This is Vincent over here. He has a little bit more health. I believe like 2 or 3 more tokens. We'll see when we look at his skill cards here. He's got 3 armor, and I'll give a brief review of how armor works and when we kind of get into the combat here. Oh, and he's got, by the way, he's got a shotgun, is what he's currently using. We'll see if he picks up something better. And then Ran over here has, I believe this is a machine gun? Is that what this is? You find that, yeah, this is a, yes, this is a machine gun. And so he's using that. Vincent has the front guard ability, which says when you choose to advance, you may attack twice instead of once. So that's very cool. So he's probably never going to choose to merely do the attack twice thing. He's probably just going to always advance. Survival Ops. You start the game with 3 extra wound tokens. When you respawn, you gain these wound tokens back. So that's what I was talking about. He's got some extra health because of Survival Ops. And then finally, Tough. You start the game with 1 extra armor token. When you respawn, you gain this armor token back. And so that's why he has 3 armor tokens and instead of 2 that Rand starts with. And the reason I chose these names is because in my headcanon, and this is kind of self-promotional, but in my headcanon, these 2 characters are from an audio drama trilogy that I produced. And this is the first part of it, actually, in the CD form anyway. Spirit Blade. This is a special edition version. Spirit Blade is the name of the trilogy. It's a cyberpunk blending of sci-fi and fantasy and supernatural stuff. And it's a 3-part audio drama story. Each one is the length of a movie. And these guys are part of an organization they're the underdogs. You know, cyberpunk, you got the corporations that have taken over the world and stuff. And these guys are part of like a demon fighting, as it were, organization of people called Seekers, which are basically what Christians would be called in this far-flung future world. And they are looking to get fragments. This does have something to do with the game, I promise. They're looking for fragments of what I called it the book. It's been a while. The last part of the trilogy came out in 2016, so it's been a few years. But they're looking for fragments of the book, which is basically the Bible, that have been kind of lost to time a bit. They're out of circulation. It was outlawed and stuff like that. And so the big corporations are the only ones well, Atlantis Incorporated specifically, the world's largest corporation, is the one that's actually taken these off of the map, preserving them, but still keeping them off of the map out of public view. And so Vincent and Ran both used to work for Atlantis Incorporated, and now are seekers, part of this underground organization. And so they go on these recurring missions into various Atlantis corporate buildings to try and break in and find these files so that they can get the Bible back into circulation in some form. And they are being opposed constantly by interdimensional demons or interdimensional aliens. They're kind of one of the same in this story, which is a minor spoiler, I guess, for the first part of the trilogy. And I was just kind of realizing, as I've not been a big fan of the Doom games. I reviewed the most recent reboot, which I think came out actually in 2016, maybe. It's kind of rebooted the franchise, or a soft reboot or whatever. And it's just not my type of gameplay. And I prefer other types of shooters and first-person shooters. But the world is kind of interesting to me. It's combining sci-fi and this idea of demons that are interdimensional. They treat these as real demons and yet also as interdimensional beings. And so kind of the big thing that went wrong in this game came out based on Doom 3, the Doom 3 video game. But I think the premise is basically the same in the games that followed. That something went wrong, and so these interdimensional creatures, these demons, are entering into our world and wreaking havoc, and we got to put a stop to them, or they're going to destroy the world or something, And there's some overlap in the basic struggle going on in the Spirit Blade trilogy with what's going on in Doom. And so I thought, well, this would be really appropriate. What if I, in my headcanon, had two of my characters that go on these missions breaking into Atlantis corporate buildings, Ran and Vincent? What if this was a prequel story, maybe, to the first part of the Spirit Blade trilogy, and the UAC, which is it's the name of the company I think that they're working for or whatever, is a subsidiary of Atlantis Incorporated. Sure, let's run with that headcanon. So I got this rough headcanon of these two characters. If you want, you can download the first part of the trilogy, which is a pretty self-contained story, at spiritblade.com for free. It's the Spirit Blade Legacy Edition. It's actually my preferred updated version of the trilogy. And so the first part, self-contained story, Spirit Blade Legacy Edition, go to spiritblade.com. You get it for free. All right, so now let me get you caught up briefly on what happened in the first scenario. These two were... Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong book. No wonder I'm not finding it. The first scenario was called Knee Deep in the Dead. And I'll just read kind of the mission briefing and then to tell you briefly what happened, and then we'll move on to scenario 2. You're sitting in a lounge in Sector 5 when it happens. First, the lights... And I imagine that these guys are undercover, posing as employees of this company on this installation on Mars. First, the lights flicker for a moment, then the power dies, and the red backup lights snap on and begin to hum. Off in the distance, you hear first one scream, and then several more in quick succession. Panicked voices begin cutting in on your radio headsets, but are drowned out by a general announcement. I'm spitting all over my page here. Red alert! All UAC personnel be advised, there has been a Code Red security breach in the Dimensional Gateway Research Facility. We are initiating lockdown procedures as described in Section Alpha 42F of the UAC Emergency Manual. All personnel are hereby granted full weapons clearance for purposes of self-defense. All in all, not a good start to your stint, I'll put that in quotes, in security at the UAC Mars base. You haven't even had a chance to find your room, much less explore, and the scientist who was supposed to give you the guided tour never showed up. Even worse, the lockdown procedure mentioned in the announcement means that the Union Aerospace Corporation, subsidiary of Atlantis Incorporated, is abandoning the Mars base. If you don't make your way to a shuttle base soon, you'll be left behind with little chance of rescue. Unfortunately, the shuttle bays are on the other side of the base, and you only have a vague memory of the maze of corridors and rooms you walked through to get to the lounge. Looks like you're just going to have to hope that whatever's between you and those shuttles isn't too dangerous. And so, in the first scenario, we're just trying to make our way through this section of the base and get to a red security door. I think that's almost always what you're trying to do, is make your way to the red security door. That's your exit from the level. Now, normally, well, I don't want to say normally, but like one default way of playing this game is in one-shot missions. There's no carryover from one to the next, but I am playing in the game's offered campaign mode, which means that damage carries over from one mission to the next. You don't get all your, all your health back, but you also get to hang on to cool weapons that you might have found. However, balancing that a little bit is the fact that weapons can break. If I ever roll a miss result on any of my dice when making an attack, I have to immediately roll again, and if I get another miss result, then the weapon breaks, it instantly becomes useless. Now, I always have access to at least some very basic things. I've got access to my fists, which is just a single red die. I've got access to the pistol. Anytime I have just one of these ammo tokens, it's presumed that I have access to the pistol and can use it. Or if I ever pick up a grenade, which uses this icon right here, if I ever pick that up, I can just throw that. It's ammo for some big, huge weapons, but I can also just throw it as a grenade. And I apologize for these, the fighting the glare. These are player aids that I kind of printed from online because the player aids that came with it were not good. They didn't include names on any of the monsters or the weapons and stuff, and so it was hard to kind of reference them when you're playing with friends. Like, okay, I'm going to go after this guy, So anyway, I'm hoping I won't be too rusty. We're about to dive into this now. I'm hoping I won't be too rusty. The last time I played this was when I was live streaming it almost a year ago. But in making the decision of what games I would play for Solo Tabletop Game Fest 2022, I found that HeroQuest and Doom, of the tabletop games that I have streamed this way in the past that I still had, were the most popular. In addition to being kind of like ones that I would want to play. I mean, I guess more popular was my playthrough / review series of Sword and Sorcery, Immortal Souls, and Gloomhaven. But Sword and Sorcery is just a little bit too clunky and meaty for my brain that's unable to multitask very well. You're going to notice me breaking rules both on purpose and plenty times probably on accident. So this is not a way to learn how to play this game. But like, yeah, of the games that had that halfway point of games I enjoy dinking around with and that users seem to connect with, or listeners or viewers or whatever the crap, HeroQuest and Doom are the ones that kind of floated to the surface. So anyway, without further ado, let's get the description for Scenario 2, called The Shores of Hell. Remember, okay, there's 5 scenarios total in this base campaign. And the mission briefing for Scenario 2 of 5 says you have made your way to Sector 4 on your way to the shuttle bays. However, you are also getting closer to the security breach, the thing that caused all this mess. So you imagine that the invaders will grow more numerous the farther you go. You are interrupted by a beep from a nearby console, linking your PDA to it. You find that, does anyone use PDAs anymore? I think when this came out in 2004, people were using PDAs. Now it's just smartphones, right? So you link your data pad. I don't know, that still sounds kind of futuristic. You link your data pad to it. You find that someone in the security center of the base has sent you a short document containing some information on the invaders, along with some data on the weaponry to be found in the base. And they say that because at this point their note is make sure that the Marine players have read the invader and weapon guides found at the start of the rulebook, which I've done. It's okay if they've already looked at it before now. So that's just kind of their in-story heads up. Hey, you might want to look and see what kind of monsters you can potentially run into, what kind of weapons you could potentially find. It's going to get harder now, so figure out things that you can use to your advantage. Armed with this new information, you move through the security door and into Sector 4. Scenario goals. You must make your way through Sector 4 to Sector 3. You need to pass through 2 security doors and battle the invaders that have infested the base. You must exit the board before this is the invader player supposed to be reading this, before the invader player scores 6 frags. A frag happens when a Marine dies. They do respawn in a different part of the dungeon immediately after that, or very shortly after that, but that is a frag. So before there are 6 Marine deaths, I gotta get out of here or I lose. In addition, each time the invader player draws the last card from their deck, that counts as 1 free frag against the Marines as the shuttles continue to threaten to leave. You are currently in a room filled with the gory remains of several Marines who tried to pass this way before. You hear the sound of moaning and growling nearby. So are we in... We're in the starting area, so we're not in Area 1 yet. So there's no descriptive text that I need to read at this point. Let me remind myself of the turn structure here. Okay, so we do start with the Marine players, and then we do the Invader player. So here are my Marines over here. So we've got an ammo token that would be great for Ram to grab. And they're both doing good on ammo, but I think if I'm going to have one of them have more ammo, it should be Vincent. So I will start with, you can do your Marine turns in any order. You've got tokens that you flip to kind of keep track of who's gone this round and who hasn't. So I'm going to start with Ram, and he can move, let's see... Oh yeah, it's 4 to 8. It's 8 spaces if all you do is move. So I'm just going to move twice and try to get him over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's all that he can do. Oh wait a minute! Hold on. He's got the scout ability. I think he's going to make it. When you choose to advance, you may move 8 spaces instead of 4. When you choose to sprint, which is what I just did, you can move 12 spaces instead of 8. And receive a dodge order at the end of your turn. Oh, score. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I can go 1, 2, and I believe I automatically pick that up. And then I'll head back this way, 3, 4. So awesome. Now he's got 3 armor. That's going to be very helpful, especially if he can hang on to it. And he's done. So now we'll do Vincent. He's going to also sprint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Beautiful. Now it's the Invader player's turn. And I believe, let's see, for the setup, the Invader player receives 5 cards. I forgot to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, basically, the way that I run the game, as I talked about when I last streamed this game a long time ago, is I keep these cards. I think I've taken out all the ones that wouldn't really work solo and that require like interruptions and stuff like that. But each of these cards, unlike Descent, which came after it, I don't have to pay any kind of bad guy currency to use. It just says on the card when I'm able to trigger it, when it is eligible to be triggered. And so the rule I gave for myself is the first time that a card is eligible to be triggered, I trigger it, provided I remember to do it. So let's see here. Rage. When you activate an Invader, the Invader may attack twice during this activation. Surprise attack. Play immediately after declaring an attack, but before rolling any dice. If any Marines targeted by this attack have a dodge order, cancel their ability to force the re-roll of any dice in this attack. Otherwise, this attack is an aimed attack, which means you get to re-roll any dice that you don't like after rolling. This means I get to spawn either... What is this guy called? This is a Trite, and then this dude is... Is he an Imp? Yeah. Yeah, so I can choose when there's a slash there which of the 2 monsters I'm going to spawn. This one, this beastie guy, what is he called? Where'd he go? Oh, Hell Knight. Okay, yeah, this is a Hell Knight. So I can spawn him. Man, to get that card so early on, these guys could be in serious trouble. And then Dud, play after a Marine makes an attack that does not expend ammo. That attack expends ammo as though the Marine had rolled a bullet icon. And I'm not... Let's see, what's the hand size for the... oh yeah, my maximum hand size for the Invader is 8. And so actually I need to adjust my table space just a little bit. It's a bit tricky here. You know, I've got... This is a huge board. I got all my baddies over there ready to grab at a moment's notice. I got my dice really handy here. I'm keeping track of kill points right here. This is a campaign thing. When your guys earn kill points, you can spend them between missions on permanent, well, on various things. Some non-permanent upgrades, like you can fill up your ammo, get some more ammo, stuff like that. But I'm really saving up here for the permanent upgrades that it allows you to unlock, which means this isn't going to be relevant, I don't think, during this mission. Maybe as early as after this mission, before next one, I'll have enough to buy the stuff that I want, but we'll see. Okay, so I need to make room. Really to set my camera down. I'm going to move this. It's going to fall apart. I'd rather not put this over here, but I think that's going to be the best spot for it compared to the alternatives. All right. We'll get to that mystery room sometime later. But now this allows me to have a little bit of space here. I'm going to just lay out these cards so that I can see them all the time. You won't be able to see them. Just show them to you right now. I'm going to do this. Just so that they're always kind of, hopefully, in my mind. And ready to be triggered. So I got 5 of those. Now it's the Invader player's turn, so that was the setup I was just catching up on that I was supposed to do. So during the Invader turn, I draw 2 cards, and then if I have more than 8, I have to discard down to 8. So I drew, it's a trap! Play immediately after a Marine has picked up an equipment token. Activate up to 2 invaders of your choice, that means give them a turn. The Marine player's turn then resumes. Okay. And then surprise attack was the other one that I got. Play immediately after declaring an attack, but before rolling any dice. If any Marine targeted by this attack, any Marines targeted by this attack have a dodge order, cancel their ability to force the reroll. So yeah, I got another copy of that. Already seen that. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm close to my max here. And then I think I spawn if I'm able to, right? Event cards can be played at any time as long as event cards can be played. That's all these are. These cards I have, event cards. They can be played at any time as long as the conditions are met. But I believe that spawning, the Invader player may spawn 1 card, taking the invaders shown on the card and placing them on the board. Can't be placed in line of sight of any Marine, or other Invader figures do not block line of sight for this purpose. The Invader player cannot place more invaders than the figures available, though a figure may be removed from the board to make it available. That's kind of cool. And then every enemy on the board gets a turn. So, well, gosh. I mean, I gotta spawn this guy, right? Not that I want to. I'd like my Marines to kind of do well, but, well, can I spawn him? Can I spawn him? I can't. Because there's nowhere outside of line of sight that's been revealed already that I could drop him. Could I even spawn an imp or a trite? I think I could spawn an imp. Let's see here. And then I always have to ask the question, will it be a core set monster, or will it be a monster from the expansion? I did buy the expansion when it came out for this game many, many years ago, and I've not played through the expansion solo, certainly, and not even with anybody else. And so, but I am gonna use the monsters, bring them into this game. And normally, what they have you do is, like, for the sake of balance, swap out the equivalent monsters that you want. So, like, imps are equivalent to, I don't know, these guys that have cannons on their shoulders. And so for every guy with cannons that you want to have to put 1 imp back in the box, and it can't be used in that game session. But I'm just putting all of them out on the board because I think that there are just some inherent advantages that I'm probably likely to get by playing solo and really not having surprises necessarily for me. I mean, I'm not looking ahead intentionally and trying to be tactical and stuff, again, I'm not playing this for the challenge. I'm playing this just to kind of create a story and have the rules of the game create some tension, a little bit of pushback, and provide a framework for this story in my mind to unfold in front of me with the pieces. But anyway, anytime I spawn a monster, I'm going to try to remember to roll a 6-sided die, and on a 1 through 3, it remains the monster that it's supposed to be from the base game, and on a 4 through 6, I will spawn its equivalent monster from the expansion. So will this be an imp? It will. It'll just be a standard imp. Let's see. We'll just grab one of these green ones. And yeah, there is not line of sight there, so I can get in pretty darn close. And I think I'll be able to use both rage and surprise attack when I activate this guy. So I'm going to activate Rage for him. Play when you activate an Invader. The Invader may attack twice during this activation. So the Imp can move 4 spaces. He'll go 1, 2, 3. And then he is going to attack twice. And so I'll use Surprise Attack right away. Play immediately after declaring an attack, but before rolling any dice. If any Marines targeted by this attack have a dodge order, which actually Ran does. I forgot to make a point of putting it out here, but he should have a dodge order underneath him. Cancel their ability to force the reroll of any dice in this attack. Otherwise, this attack is an aimed attack. So it's just going to not be subjected to... His attack won't be subjected to the rules of dodge. And he uses a yellow and a blue die to attack. All right? So, here's the first attack, and I'll show you kind of how this works. All right. So, the bullet icon on the yellow die means that if this was like a marine attack, it would use up 1 ammo token. You'd have to discard 1 ammo token. If there's no bullet icon on any of the dice, you don't have to discard any. The numbers on both dice indicate the range up to which this attack can reach, if it is a ranged attack. Now, the Imp actually does have the ability to make ranged attacks. But he is, I forgot that, actually, and so I just had him walk up and attack. So that was a little bit dumb. Oh well. If he would have been like 6 spaces away, then this would not have been enough to reach him. I would have failed to achieve the range in this attack. But if he would have been 5 or less, then I would have been able to hit him with this attack if it were ranged. The bullet icons indicate how many hits are scored on the Marine. The Marine does not roll defense dice, but has a static defense value that's based on how many armor tokens they have. Ran, I picked up a 3rd armor token, so now both Ran and Vincent have an armor rating of 3, which means that for every 3 hits that they receive in an attack, they receive 1 point of damage. And it's a little backwards from what you might expect. I don't believe Fantasy Flight used this system after this. When they went to Descent First Edition, they went to a more traditional armor system where the armor rating of the defender just subtracted from the hits in the attack roll, and then whatever was left is how much damage was done. So you have to kind of think in terms of division or multiplication in this combat system. But you know, you get used to it. You get used to it. So anyway, because he only scored 2 hits here, and Ran has an armor rating of 3, then he actually didn't do any damage to Ran with this attack. Now let's see here. Normally, because I use surprise attack, it would be an aimed attack, and I would let's re-roll this one or see if we can get something better. But Ran has that dodge order on him right now, and so I cannot re-roll. But neither can he make me re-roll these dice because of his dodge order. Just balances out, equals out to a standard attack. So no damage with that attack. And then, actually, I am going to, well, I mean, I think I said that I'm just going to do these whenever I possibly can, not choose when. We'll see how that works. Maybe I'll modify that. I don't know. I'm really experimenting as I go along here. So he's got another one of these cards, so I'm going to use it for his second attack as well. That balances out and negates the dodge status that Ran has. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. So I got 3. So I do 1 damage to Ran. I discard one of his health tokens. He started out with 9. 9, let's see here. And yeah, and Vincent has 12. So, yeah. I got them in little stacks here, so it won't be quite as easy to update you just at a glance on how much health they each have. But I'll let you know when things are looking dicey for either one of them. All right. So, and did I do... Let's see, I did use Rage, right? Yeah, so I need to discard this Rage. So just like that, already, I went down from 7 cards to having only 3 cards for my Invader. And I think that's all that the Invader can do this turn. So he's done. We will refresh the tokens for my Marines. Ran, I believe, loses this dodge order now at the start of his next turn. Where is that? Dodge. When attacked, may dodge, forcing the reroll of some or all the dice. The second result must be accepted. Discarded at the start of the Marine's next turn. So yes, he does lose the effects of the dodge status right now. But it'll be pretty easy for him to get back as long as he's, sprinting. Whenever he sprints, he gets that. That's really cool. But do I want to have him sprint, or do I want to have him advance? I think I'll have him advance, so that both of them get a crack at... Well, I don't know. Let's see what Vincent can do. Let's have Vincent go first. And then I'm going to advance, which allows him to still attack twice. So he's going to go 1. Actually, what weapon is he using? It looks like all he's got is a pistol right now, which that uses a yellow and a green die. And you can kind of get to know these dice and figure out which ones are going to be most valuable to you. Like yellow tends to be good for range but not damage, and green, I think, is also a good one that's better for range than damage. And then you've got 2 other colors. Red, which is really good for damage but not range, and then blue, which is kind of a moderate, still better at damage than range, definitely. Actually, gosh, is that just all zeros all across the board? Oh, it has 1. And I guess the red one, that's a pretty core die. It's good for damage and some range. But you've also got a potential miss result. Not all the dice have that. I believe it's just the red and the yellow. And blue and blue and green dice do not have the potential for a miss result. Anyway, so the pistol is not great. Well, wait a minute. Pater, come on now. Come on now. He's got the shotgun. He's got the shotgun, which uses the same ammo as the pistol, but is definitely a whole lot better. And I'm using, let's see, I believe I'm using the blow-through. Am I using blow-through or knockback? I think I'm using blow-through for the shotgun. Yeah. There's 2 different modes of the shotgun that you can use. I believe the original game either had blow-through or knockback. And, well, let's see. Let me see really quick. The recommended changes, aka fixes in their mind. Shotguns. Oh, super shotguns. All shotguns receive the knockback ability instead of the blow-through ability. Okay, so yeah, I mean they called them super shotguns. Like this is better, but really, I think the blow-through ability can make the shotgun devastatingly powerful against larger enemies. attacks with the blow through, and so I think I'm going to stick with blow through on this, not knockback. I don't really need to knock back enemies that badly. Blow through attacks can be walked into multiple spaces, so it can affect multiple figures, one after another. After the initial attack, regardless of success, the attacker may roll against an adjacent space by removing either one green or one blue die from the attack. So you get a whole separate roll from the next space that you walk the attack into, and as long as you are able to remove one green or one blue die from the dice that you've assembled for that attack, you are eligible to continue walking it into another space. The attack may continue to further adjacent spaces as long as a die is dropped each time as above. No attack roll needs to be made for empty spaces. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to stick with blow-through shotguns. And that uses a red and a blue, which, gosh, I generally want to be fairly close up. So let's go 1, 2, and then I only have to get a result of 1. Oddly enough, you know, if it's a ranged attack, if I get a result of 0 from one space away, I would miss. So I do need to get, unless it specifically says it's a melee attack, then I have to get 1 range even right next to him. So let's see how this works out. Oh, it's a miss! And now I have to roll this again. If I get an X again, his shotgun breaks. Please don't, okay? Okay, so it's a miss, but the shotgun doesn't break. Oh, let's see. Oh, and I didn't have a bullet icon show up. I got a miss and then this other one. All right. I tend to forget to watch out for those bullet icons and then discard ammo tokens when I'm supposed to. So if you're watching live, feel free to catch me if I miss it. Okay. Gosh. We are only going to be just getting this game started today. As it is, I'll be doing this for another 15 minutes, and then I will pick this up again tomorrow. But that's Vincent. And then Ran. Yeah, he's got the machine gun. Which uses yellow, blue, and green, and actually gets 2 automatic points of range in the attack. So, gosh, did I have him... Oh, no. Yeah, that's right. That's the imp that I screwed up with. I was like, did I have Rand attack with the pistol once instead of the machine gun? Okay, no. So, he's going to go... Oh, and he can move through enemy spaces, so he's going to start making his way out here. He's going to go 1, 2... This is advance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gosh. Can I move part way, attack, and then move the rest? Do the rest of my move? I honestly can't remember how that works. Rain turn. Yes, you can. Yes. Yeah. In the middle of your allotted movement for the turn, you can make an attack. So he went 1, 2, 3, 4, and he can still move 4 more because of his scout ability, but he's gonna turn around. Well, actually, you know what? He'll make the shot here because he's got that auto range of 2. Okay, so let me go ahead and discard an ammo token before I forget. Oops, that's Vincent's ammo. Use your own ammo. So looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and the imp has an armor value of 2, so that means it's going to do 2 damage to him, and he only has 1 health, so the imp is destroyed. And then his kill point value is 1, and so Ran gets 1 kill point. Nice. I really like that. I like that, because it's not exactly loot. You don't really find loot on monsters in this game. You find it lying around in a very video gamey, understandably, very video gamey fashion. But I'm such an RPG gamer that, like, when I kill a monster, It's always a little bit of a letdown in a board game when I don't get something immediately for killing that monster. Loot or experience. And in this game, you at least get XP, in a sense, these kill points. So, I'm very happy about that. Feels good. Alright, so that's it for Rand's turn. So both of them are gone now. It's the Invader player's turn. I'm going to draw 2 cards. First one is Imp or a Trite. Next up is Jump the Gun. What's this? Play immediately before a Marine takes his turn. Choose up to 3 invaders and move these invaders a number of spaces up to their movement speed. Okay. Interesting. Still not really in a good position to spawn that Hell Knight, and now I think I can't even spawn a 1-space enemy. No, I cannot. So that's all I can do as the Invader player this turn. So we will refresh for Rand and Vincent. And let's try to do this fairly systematically, I think, and kind of hug... Well, oh, wait a minute. No, let's not. I was going to say let's hug the left wall and follow our way around here. But actually, this little closet, this is kind of like a closet here, so it would make more sense to explore this first and then go this way. Again, I have access to the map and all the notes, but I'm trying to not look at it any more than I need to, so that, you know, if I am able to keep some surprise for myself, great, you know. Okay, so he's gonna sprint. He's gonna sprint, which means he gets 12 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 2 to open up a door, if I remember correctly. 9, 10. So let's go ahead and set up this room here. What do we have according to the map? Alright, well, we've got 2 zombies to greet him at the door. Oh, but are they zombies? Are they zombies? Let's check. Zombie 1 is a zombie. Zombie 2 is a zombie. Okay. Interdimensional zombies, I guess? I don't know. As I was getting ready to do this stream, I did start thinking more about the Doom video games, and maybe wanting to give them another try. There's just so many other video games that I have already that I'm really enjoying. I am in no rush. Then we've got an ammo token here. And an imp. Right here. What else? We've got a vent right here. Now those are normally just something that trites can move through. They can skitter through like freaking alien face huggers. You can get a marine ability that allows you to move through them too, but neither of my marines have that. Oh, and then we've got one demon dog. I mean, they're just called demons here, but I think all these creatures in the lore are classified as demons of some kind. So I tend to keep calling them demon dogs. But is it a demon dog? It could be something else. Let's see. It is something else. I rolled a 5, which means instead it's going to be... I want to call these lickers. Are they lickers? No, they're called maggots. Sorry, I haven't been showing you these minis. I try to do that when I pull them out for the first time. So this is a maggot. I think it should be called a licker. It's this weird 2-headed thing with a big lashing tongue coming out. Pretty gross. Pretty cool. And he... Oh, actually, I need a... Technically, I'm supposed to pull out a green one. Do I have a green one handy? Oh, there's one. Oh, no, that's not. Where's my green lickers? Oh, well, I'll just use this blue one, I guess. I'll have to look for the green one later. So I'll put him right there. And then we've got A mystery. Where is it? Come on now. Should I just dump out this bag? That's going to make it easier. Come on now. There he is, there he is. So this is like, I mean, it's always a picture of a dead guy. But this is basically, when you see one of these, that means there's some kind of an event that happens there. You go there, you end your movement on that space, on one of these two spaces, and then you read some text, some special text of something that happens or that you gain or whatever. So he's going to go right there for me to investigate as soon as I'm able, and I think that's the whole room. I think I got it all. All right, and he still had 2 movement left. I think he might back up a little bit now. Yeah. He'll just go 1, 2 right there. And that'll be the end of his turn for now. And then Vincent, gosh. 1, 2, 3. He needs to sprint. He needs to sprint. He's way the crap over here, and I need to get him over there as quickly as possible, or Rand's in trouble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and at least then he will present himself as a nearly as tempting target for this situation here. And that is the end of his turn. Now it's the Invader's turn. 2 cards. Let me show you what I got here. So this means I actually spawn all 3 of those. So that really gets a party started. And then I also got a spawn 2 zombies card. But I might be finally in the market to spawn this Hell Knight. Let me see what the line of sight situation looks like here. Gosh, no, I think that Vincent still just barely has line of sight to where I would want to spawn him. Oh, and Rand, yeah, does as well. Yeah, so there's not... Oh, wait. No, that doesn't work. No. Okay. Well, dang it. Part of me would love to get this Hell Knight out, but it's not quite the right time. But I'm sure I can get something else out. In fact... see here. Yeah, I can get these 3 guys out. So I'm going to play this and put a zombie, an imp, and a trite out all right now. Sounds like the start of a joke. Zombie. Oops. Knocking my board around. Zombie, imp, trite. But is that what they are? Well, we got to roll and find out. Starting with the trite. The trite is not a trite. The trite is a weird little baby thing. It's a cherub. Where did the cherubs go? So, it's this weird looking thing. It's got like a little baby's face, but then a really jacked up everything else. So we'll put this right here. Oops, you can't see that. Sorry. I'm sneaking them in. They're coming in from behind. That's my dastardly plan right now. Is the zombie a zombie? It is a zombie. Actually, you know what? Well, no. Too late. Well, let's see. Let's put him here. Yeah, that's a good spot. Is the imp an imp? It is an imp. We can put him right here. Okay, so I've done my spawning, my allotted spawning for the turn. Where to begin? So many options. Let's start with the cherub. This would actually be handy to keep out here. Yeah. Okay, the cherub has a movement of 6. And he can fly or something. What the crap is going on with that? Can fly and zigzag or something. What do these symbols mean? Agile. Oh. The cherub always has a dodge order, basically, in effect. So he can re-roll, force a re-roll of some or all of the dice. And he's a flyer. Can move through enemies and blocking obstacles, but must end in an empty space. May move through or end their move on damaging obstacles without effect. Okay. Alright, here he comes. 1, 2, no, actually 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's right up next to Ran, which is good because he's only a melee attacker. So he uses red and green, or as I often call them, the Christmas dice. And he gets 4 hits, so that's 1 point of damage on Ran. Jeez Louise. Okay. Let's move this Imp then. Imp has 4 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Range of 1, 2, 3 over to Vincent. And he rolls a yellow and a blue for his attack. Any abilities I need to know about? No. And he gets a result of 3. He gets the range. So he does 1 point of damage to Vincent. And let's see here. Then we got to move these zombies here. 1, 2. He only has a movement of 3, but that sure seemed like plenty, didn't it? Let's hang on a second. 1, 2, 3. How about we go here? Enemies can attack diagonally in this game, which is something I always have to get used to when I'm moving from HeroQuest to Doom or another game like this. Most modern board games, actually. So he's going to attack from there. Yeah, because he can't reach Vincent, right? He started here. 1, 2. Oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's attack Vincent. Or should we attack Ran? I don't know. I think he would attack who's closest. He's a zombie, right? I don't want to get bogged down trying to think too tactically. That can happen sometimes, and really what I want is just think thematically. And I think zombie's just going to move toward who's closest. 1, so he's just going to go, 1, 2, 3. And then take a groaning swipe at Ran with a red and blue. So he doesn't need range. He gets 4 hits, which results in 1 damage. Oh, crap. Okay. So I need to wrap up this Invader player turn, and then that'll be the end of the stream for today. This zombie's going 1, 2, 3, and attacking Vincent, again with a red and blue. Ooh, but he misses. Now we got this zombie here. 1, 2, 3. Boy, diagonal makes a big difference. They can get around a lot faster than I think they can. Attacking Ran. Oh, dang! So that's going to be 2 points of damage on Ran. Ran is already 1, 2, 3, 4. He's already down to 4 health. And this is him with 3 armor. I mean, this is going to get bad once... oh, my gosh. This is going to get bad once he loses that armor. I forgot how just, aggressive this game can really be. What about this maggot? He moves 5 spaces. He's going to go 1, 2, 3... 4, 5. So he could just barely get in there and get in a diagonal attack on Vincent. Let's see. So he rolls a red and a blue. He's got the watchful ability and also a double attack ability. He gets to attack twice, which is really nasty. And he has watchful, which means that anytime an enemy figure moves through a space that's adjacent to him, he gets a free... Gosh, does he get one free attack, or does he get activated? 1 free attack. Okay, that's good. Jeez Louise. Oh, these maggots are so much worse than demons. I think I want to call them lickers. Maggot sounds small and relatively harmless or just disgusting. Licker, I mean, that just sounds disturbing. And I am disturbed by him right now. So, yellow and blue. He gets 1 automatic hit, plus 2 more hits. So first, he does 1 point of damage, just right off the bat. Yikes. And that was a really low roll. Oof. And look at that. That 1 extra hit makes all the difference in this case. 2 points of damage off of Vincent right there. Bad news. And we still have an imp that hasn't taken its turn. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so he can't quite get in position to do any damage yet. Already, I feel like I'm freaking in a fight to survive. But that fight will have to continue tomorrow with the Marines' turns. You can look at the schedule below to see when I will be starting. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Do you like games? I like games. Do you like games too? I like games too. I like games too.